Hi everyone, and welcome back to our series exploring the different parts of Kith. This is part 2, where we'll be looking at the consulting. You can consider the consulting agent your own personal consultant that helps you improve and troubleshoot your applications. The capabilities of consulting is quite wide. It lets you go as far as adding whole new agents to applications you've already created, as well as editing their configuration and troubleshooting any errors you might be facing within your application. So let's open up the interface and take a look. When you land in the consulting area, the first thing you're going to want to do is to select the application that you're looking at improving, editing, or troubleshooting. So let's look at the interactive history learning platform that I made in the last episode. Now I've selected this, we can see that a chat interface has now opened up, as well as some buttons across the top of the application here. Let's quickly talk about what these buttons do at the top. They're quite intuitive. This export button here opens up an interactive interface where you can re-export your application or backend. You can go through and select even as far as individual agents and individual endpoints or functionalities in your application. So in the application I made last time, it had a history tutor as well as a fact file generator. So if I just wanted to export one feature, I'd only go as far as selecting one, and then I'd hit prepare export and it'd give me a copy paste export once again. Secondly, the reset chat button, this will just reset the conversation context to nothing. Reload applications button is just a quick refresh in case you're experiencing any latency. So now moving on to the main part of consulting, which is the actual consultant. Just by talking with the consultant, you can export, you can edit the configuration of your applications, you can troubleshoot them, and this is because the consulting agent has access and can view all the configuration options of your applications, as well as their historic analytics or previous outputs. So it has the ability to see how your application is constructed, as well as the outputs it's creating. Therefore, it can help you make informed improvements in line with your requests. Great, so how about we have a go at making some changes? Let's continue with this history learning platform that I created. I'm interested in making the fact file generator only generate fact files about historical figures. I don't want it to generate facts about wider historical events, just historical figures. So let's start the conversation. Great, so I've just finished my message and I'll send it. Don't feel like you have to use technical language in order to understand it, and if you ever have any questions about what's going on, just ask it. It can help you and lead you through things step by step. Great, so we've got our reply now. It says, hi there. To focus exclusively on famous historical figures, it needs to modify the prompt logic, update the instructions, and add filtering to redirect broader historical topics to suggest specific figures instead. This would ensure the fact files about specific people rather than broader historical topics. So I'll send a quick reply. It sounds like it's got it spot on for what I want. I've just told it, yes, that sounds great. The next thing the consulting agent will always do is, before it makes a change, it wants to confirm with you that you're sure you want to make this change. So right here, it's confirming and will tell you what it's going to modify and your expected change in outputs and a confirmation that you're ready to make this change. So I'll just say yes. Great. Now here's a summary of the changes it's made. It says, perfect, I'll update your fact file generator. The problem was your fact file generator creates fact files on wider topics. The solution, I'll modify so it only focuses on individual famous historical figures. So let's go jump into the application and see if this change has been made. Great. So here we are again in our interactive history platform that we built last episode. I'm going to jump into the fact file section. Well, let's test something like the Roman Empire. Excellent. We just got returned our output from the agent, and let's see what it's got to say. We asked for the Roman Empire, and it's returned Julius Caesar, Augustus, Marcus Aurelius, Constantine the Great, Cercio. Just historical figures as we requested. So using just the consulting agent and conversation again, we've made an edit to our application's configuration without having to do anything technical. I can also show you that I haven't made any further prompts in Lovable in order to integrate this change. Here we have just one message, the initial message we shared, with Lovable in order to make this edit to the application. The next thing I want to cover is sometimes you might make a change that requires you to re-export to Lovable. So you will need to send a further message to Lovable, and this is because you'll have made a change that is a bit more invasive and means that Lovable will be receiving information in a different pattern or shape, and Lovable won't be expecting that unless you warn it. So this is where that export button comes into play, or exporting from the chat conversation. Now, if you do need to make an export through the edits you've been making, the consultant will inform you need to make an export now, and will take you through the steps. And again, it doesn't go any further than just conversation. So let's do something like that now, just to show you how it works. I'm going to add a whole new feature to the application using the consultant. I'm going to, alongside our fact file generator for historical figures, a dynasty and empires generator to sort of fill that gap we left behind. Great, so I've written up my request for a new feature. I want to add a dynasty fact file generator, returning 1 to 5 dynasty or empire fact files on a time period or description provided by the user. So let's see what the consultant has got to say. Great, here we go. I understand you want to add a complementary feature to your history learning platform. Since we just updated your fact file generator to focus on famous historical figures, now you want a separate generator to handle dynasties and empires specifically. I can create a new prompt called Dynasty Empire Generator. Prompts, as you may know, sit within agents, and one agent can have multiple individual prompts in our platform. You can, of course, create multi-agent systems, but that's a bit complex for the tutorial today, and we'll be keeping it simple, focusing on adding a sole feature to an agent that already exists in our application. Great, so it says it will generate 1 to 5 fact files, handle time periods like medieval Europe, include things like dates, territories, noble rulers, achievements, decline, and it will use a similar structure but tailored for political entities instead of individuals. So yeah, that sounds great. Perfect. So we've just got our response, and it says perfect. I'll create the new Dynasty Empire fact file generator for your history learning agent. This will complement the platform. Now what we have is 3 different features, and it tells us how it works again a little bit, but it also informs us this change requires re-exporting your backend for Lovable integration. The new Dynasty Empire creates a new API endpoint that your front end can call. Do we want to generate the export details? Yes. And this is how the consultant helps you do this exporting without you needing to worry about any of the finer details. All that we're going to need to do again is hit copy and paste in Lovable. Great. So now our export configuration details are being shown to us. This is an automatic pop-up after requesting an export. You don't need to worry about this. So now we'll just hit generate export. Excellent. Our export's just finished generating, as you can see here. And we are faced with another copy and paste button in order to add this new feature to our platform. So let's head back over to Lovable. I've already copied the export prompt, so I'll just paste it into the chat. I'm just going to hit enter and let Lovable integrate this new feature into the platform. I'll be back with you when it's finished. Now we see how Lovable's made this change. Now you can see there's a third option here called Dynasties and Empires. Let's check it out with something like Ancient Japan. Great. We've just been returned 3 dynasties and empires relevant to Ancient Japan, with the Nara period, the Asuka period, as well as the Yamato dynasty, and a whole series of pieces of information about them. So, by using the consultant today, we both edited an existing part of the application and added a whole new feature just by talking to the consultant and copying and pasting. I'll show you again that we've only exchanged 2 messages with Lovable, the first one being the initial integration, Lovable's response here, and this is where we added the new Dynasty Empire feature, and Lovable's response here. Thank you very much for watching today in the second episode of the Kith Platform Capabilities series. I hope you found it interesting and insightful, and look forward to seeing you in the next episode. Please do like and subscribe if you want to keep up with the updates that are going on with our platform every week, and I'll catch you in the next one.